Hello and welcome to another interesting episode of Youth in Service. And you know, Youth in Service, we have discussions concerning youth and corpers in general. And today is no exception because I have with me a very executive guest. When I say executive, you know what I mean by executive. Yeah, in the person of Mr. David Johnson. Mr. David Johnson, are you ready for us?
Yeah, very well.
Yeah, you are prepared for us.
Yeah, sure.
Well, we've heard from Mr. David. He said he is prepared for us, but how is he prepared? We don't know. Stay with us. We'll know how he's prepared after this short break. Welcome back, and you see youth in service. We have with us Mr. David Johnson. As he said, he's prepared for us. But in case you've missed the previous episode, you can still catch us on Star Times channel 103 and on YouTube. Just search NTA Abeokuta. And the funny thing is, we are also on Facebook. Just search NTA Abeokuta, you'll see us, and you can catch our previous episode and also this episode and the future episode. So Mr. David, going straight to you.
All right.
Our topic for today is youth empowerment. Youth empowerment. So, can you tell us what is youth empowerment? What you understand by youth empowerment?
All right. Thank you so much for inviting me to this program, Mr. Idris. From my understanding and experience, I think youth empowerment has to do with creating structures, creating projects that in the future and currently enable the youth to create impact in their society.
Okay, so
Yeah.
to create impact. But my own understanding of youth empowerment, when they say they empower someone, because I have an auntie who does something like that. When they say they empower someone, is that they give the person sewing machine, bicycle, motorcycle, tricycle, so they can make income for themselves. And I'm sure that is what our viewers at home that might be the understanding they have. Is it the same thing?
Well, I think that's a general understanding of empowerment. But when you break it down to when you bring it down to the youth, you need to understand what are the sectors that the youth are even involved in. Are these youth in the tech space? Are they in the fashion space, music, filmmaking, photography? You need to look at what industry they are in before you can say you want to empower these people. The skill sets that they have and how the government or whatever body decide to empower this set of people.
Okay, thank you so much. So what you are trying to say is, before you can empower a set of youth, you have to first know you have to first know their level or their skill set, as you said.
Yeah.
So not that someone is into tech and you bring a sewing machine for the person. And it's okay. That's basically what you are saying.
Yeah, that's what
So what you are saying is, anyone that wants to empower youths or maybe people in general, you have to know their skill set. I'm sorry for this thing, but I think before they empower some set of people, they will first take them through some training. You understand? So I guess that's the training. They know where they are and they give them what. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, I think I do. Yes. It's more like creating when you understand the sectors that youths are interested in. You can now create different avenues, different trainings in these particular industries. For example, you understand that youths today are more interested in tech or interested in fashion. So you can now say, okay, if we want to empower youth in Nigeria today, let us create a training or program for this set of skills. All right. So you create awareness for these things, and then people now choose whatever ones that they want to learn.
Yes. So thank you so much for that answer. So how can youth empowerment be promoted, especially in this kind of society?
I think that it starts from we the youth ourselves. I think we should, especially in Nigeria, I think we should be generally interested in knowing what the government has in store for us. It's one thing for us to be relaxed and doing our own thing, but it's another thing to be curious about what the government has in store. I think that to my own experience and just living in Nigeria, I'm not very well versed in the youth empowerment structures that the government has put in place. But I think that if I am curious, I should be curious enough to find out what are the programs that the government is doing to help youths in the country, as well as the agencies in the country or the agencies in the states that you reside in. They should be responsible for creating campaigns, awareness for the youth empowerment like programs that the government has arranged.
Okay. So do you think, well, you said you're not curious, that means you've not basically you've not seen or probably heard more on youth empowerment. So do you think these social media, Instagram, Facebook, and stuff like that, do they have their role to play in youth empowerment?
Massively, massively. I think that if you look at like 3 out of 5 youths today, every one of us like has a Twitter account
Yeah.
or Facebook or Instagram. Mostly Twitter and like Instagram because that's where we're mostly at. That's where things are happening. So I think that yes, social media like does play like a major role
Major role.
in like um educating and creating awareness for youth awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to quickly, just a quick question. Do you think youth empowerment, do you think is like a skill to eradicate poverty? Because I would lie to you, I've not, I don't know, maybe it's something you've noticed, or I don't see in the US or probably in Europe or Asia or the foreign countries. I've not seen them doing any youth empowerment. Probably I don't know about it, but I don't think I've seen them doing any youth empowerment. Their structure is quite different from us.
Yeah.
You understand? You can walk up to maybe a shop owner that you want to lease the shop, and they have the agreement, then you do whatever you want to do. But unlike Nigerians that will see that, or like Nigeria, I mean, that you see that you see an NGO giving sewing machine,
Yeah.
motorcycle, tricycle to individuals. I don't know if you understand what I'm
I,
saying.
I think
Do you
I do.
think now what we are trying to do is this empowerment, we are using it as a skill to eradicate poverty?
Well, it can be a means to like eradicate poverty like amongst like the youth. But I think that the reason why it's like that, like in comparison to other countries, is like the climate of Nigeria's economy is quite different from like other like developed countries. So when you bring it down to the scale of Nigeria now, for instance, you find like these NGOs doing these things because they understand that the the impact of poverty in this class of people, like for let's say um, like age 18 to like 25, after school you finish from straight from like university, you do your youth service, and then you like start like looking for jobs, and that's why I say it ties back to like the climate of the economy. Like um, the Nigerian economy right now is not one that provides like a lot of jobs, depending on your industry, like depending on your course of study and your experience as well. So it's not one that provides a lot of jobs, but I think that when you bring that youth empowerment in place, I think that um, it gives you more like opportunities that you can explore. It's like tying back to the skill that you have or the skill that you can learn like through this empowerment programs.
Okay, so what you are saying is basically for you to be empowered, you have to have a skill.
Yeah, not like you need to have a skill. You need to like be interested in learning a skill. Then from that skill, like you can now like make something.
It's still the same thing. You have to have a skill
Yeah,
before you can be
yeah,
empowered.
yeah.
Yeah. When our guest, Mr. David, when he said he came prepared, I thought you were joking, but I can see how prepared you came. Our viewers at home,
All right.
please stay with us. Let's see catch Mr. David's preparedness when we come back after this short break. Hello and welcome back to Youth in Service. We still have with us Mr. David Johnson, and he said he came prepared. And I'm sure you viewers at home, you see how prepared he is for us. Yeah, so going to the next question. What is the main purpose of youth empowerment in our country, in our society? What is the main purpose? What do you think is the main purpose? You understand? When you see probably an NGO or government doing youth empowerment or skill empowerment, what do you think is the main purpose?
I think that the main purpose like starts um, with who is empowering this particular youth. Like who is empowering you? Is it the government? Is it the NGO? They have like their own motives behind it. So some NGOs can be like, oh, we've noticed this problem in this particular society, and this is what we can do to solve this problem. And to solve this problem, we will create job opportunities by using skill set, right? So their motive could be that, oh, they want to reduce poverty, or they want to reduce thefts, they want to reduce idleness. They want, or their goal could be that they want to increase youth's involvement in like society development and all of those interesting stuff. So I think that generally, generally, though, I think that the main purpose is to like help youths create better opportunities for themselves, depending or regardless of your background, regardless of your history and where you come from.
So, well, I think, I just think, I don't know
Okay.
if it's, but as I said before, I think the main purpose of youth empowerment is to eradicate poverty or to reduce the level of poverty in our society.
Yeah.
So, a quick question, I just want to ask you, youth empowerment and skill empowerment, are they the same, or probably it's just the terms that we use?
I think that they are the same. It's just like a change of like
Can you? Okay.
word. Youth empowerment is like a general like term to like address empowerment for youth,
For youth.
and skill empowerment is like it's more like it's subject like under youth empowerment. So if you're going to empower the youth, you need to like provide or like be able to train them with certain set of skills to empower them so that they can create something for themselves.
Yeah, so basically, I think youth empowerment is just for a certain set of people. You understand?
Yeah,
Like
it's
with the
youth.
youth. Then skill empowerment is probably for the general public, both
Yeah,
the adults and yeah.
yeah.
So how can we use? How can we be inspired? Where do we draw our inspiration from? Let's see about you. Let's talk about you. Where do you draw your inspiration from? How can you be inspired? Let's first. It's two questions now. How can you be inspired?
Like I think it ties down to like what I do, like my interest or what I'm like meaning doing.
Sorry to cut you short. Let's say you have a skill.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, let's say you have a skill. Like,
Okay.
what inspired you to get that skill?
I I didn't want to like use just I didn't want to like have just my degree
Okay.
from my school. I wanted to make sure that I had like other skill sets, like profitable skills that I could make money regardless of securing a job opportunity at a particular company. That's what made me like get the skill, and I am a photographer.
About
Yeah, so that's what I do, and tying it to like what inspires me, or like I think it's
yes,
what
yes.
inspires me.
What do you draw your inspiration from? What inspires you?
Success. I want to be successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's nice. You want to be successful.
Yeah.
So, do you think, okay, general youth? How do you think youth can be inspired?
I think that we can look at if we want to be inspired, I think we should look at the situation of the country and see what's working and what's not. If we see what's working, we look at things like we look at industries like the music industry. You look at the tech industry. You look at I think fashion and film. So if you look at those industries and you see that they're doing well for themselves without like intensive like government support, I think that it's something that you can draw inspiration from. Because if you look at what these people are like achieving with what they have, despite their backgrounds, despite um, their knowledge as well, you see like tech companies like raising like significant amounts of like fundings for their company or for the projects that they're working on. It's really inspiring to like see those things. So I think that when you look around you, you can like draw inspiration from industries.
Yeah. So, basically, what are the problems of youth empowerment? What do you think are the problems of youth empowerment?
I think there are like a number of problems.
Yeah.
Like a number of problems. I think like the most common ones though is like first of all, for you to even know that there are empowerment projects in place for youths. It's not something that you find like very like compelling out there. You don't like hear news about it every time. Maybe like maybe election periods like coming like near, or someone just like, or when someone is new in power, like let's say a new governor comes in or a new president comes in, that's when you hear it. So I think that one of the problems is like awareness, like creating awareness for this particular empowerment project or empowerment schemes that the government has designed. So I think that to solve that, I think that just the agencies or the bodies involved in executing these youth empowerment projects should create more awareness and campaigns for these youth empowerment projects, so that we the youth can be aware and look at how we can get involved.
Yeah. So, sorry, do you think corruption can be one of the reasons? Why I say corruption? Let's say that, there's someone that wants to empower a set of youth, then he gives it to another person. Understand the distribution to another person. So the person comes and say, me, I have like 5 children or 5 youths at home. Out of like 30 stuffs, understand? He gives 5 or 10 to his children that are not even interested. You understand? The remaining 20, he shares it to others. Do you think that has something to do with this problem of youth empowerment?
Well, that's more like a systematic kind of thing. Do you understand? So if you say corruption, yeah, it just might be part of the problem. That's on the systematic scale of things. Do you understand? But when you break it down, yes, there's corruption because there is nobody to be held accountable for. Like, okay, if the government is bringing a youth empowerment project to empower, let's say, the youth in Ogun State, all right, it's going to be executed by a particular body. Let's say it's a government empowerment project or a government empowerment project for like technology industry, right? So it's going to be executed by probably like a tech hub or a tech agency under Ogun State government, right? So if it's going to be executed by them, someone has to be like held accountable. There's someone in charge of that, like that particular agency. So if you are going to say, oh, corruption is the cause, then you know that you can point to this person and say, oh, this is the reason why that we don't have these things in place in this state. And it also ties back to like the awareness. If you're not aware that um, that social thing is happening now, I mean, you just miss the opportunity, and the person can just keep the money in pocket.
Yes. So let's say part of people are viewers at home. Let's say someone that is interested in empowerment is there. So you made mention of awareness. What source of awareness do you think you can tell the person? You know.
I think that for awareness, they need to really understand where the youth are, like how to reach them. You find the youth on social media, Twitter, Instagram. You'd also find them on, you find them like different communities. Like you need to like understand where these people are, like where their attention is. So when you understand where their attention is, you can now like reach them through this means. So social media like Twitter, YouTube, Instagram as well, and then probably like through television and radio programs to just like create awareness for it.
Okay. So still on that social media, do you know most of, let's say 20% of what we see on social media, they are fake. So some people might think it is fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how can how can they make it so original that the youth, especially we youth, there are some things we see that we like, oh, this on AFK, you understand?
Yeah.
So what do you think how do you think they can make it so original that people know that, yeah, this is original? Just imagine a fintech probably looking for someone, understand, and we see like the salary is like 3 million or 4 million. Some people like 4 million in this present economy, this one are fake, you understand, or something like that. So how do you think they can make it so real and original that we youth we can get to know that it is so original?
It starts from like education. You need to like if you're creating awareness of something, you need to educate them about what it is about, how it's going to like go about, like how they're going to execute it, and why should I care, you know. So once you look at those three things, now you can now like generate curiosity. Before you say something is fake, you need to like see how it looks, and how can I confirm that this is not fake. So if there's a youth empowerment program, I think that they should have a website that we can look up. So the website should look legit, that this is actually something. You don't want to like see a website that is having like a URL or a link to another, let's say www.ogustate.com or like .net. It would end with like .org or .gov.ng. So that's like another way to like verify that this is legit, because it's coming from a uniform resource locator that identifies as a government domain. So you think you should like, I think that the youth should like be well abreast of how to like identify or spot like fake like ventures. So I think that it starts with education and then like proofing it with like proper branding. So it shouldn't like come off as something like this fake.
Okay, so let's make use of this example. Yeah, photographer, right?
Yeah.
Let's say there's a youth empowerment on photography. How do you think that's awareness? How do you think? What do you think they can do to make it catch your attention, to make it catch your interest?
Mm. I think that if it's going to catch my interest, it should be solving a problem that I experience. So like a lot of like I'll start use myself as example now. If you're starting out in like photography, I think that one of the challenges that you would first of all experience is like the knowledge barrier. Like how do I learn this thing? Because it can be quite difficult to like acquire knowledge and be good at it. So if I see that they are creating um, an empowerment structure or an empowerment program where they're going to teach, they are going to like provide equipment and also like provide like facilities or like um, yeah, just like equipment, facilities, and some other structures that they will put in place to make sure that it benefits me. That's how I can like see that okay, this is something I can take advantage of. This is something that would benefit me. So they need to like identify like the problems that
Problems.
photographers are experiencing at the early stage of their careers and how to solve them. Like if we're going to solve these problems, are we going to give them money? Are we going to provide them loans? Are we going to provide them like financial structures to like get equipment, trainings for like branding, trainings for like the technical aspect as well, and just helping them grow.
Okay. There you go, guys. We've heard from Mr. David, but we'll be right back after the short break. Yeah, welcome back to Youth in Service. You've missed, but you can still catch us on StarTimes channel 103. You can catch us on YouTube and on Facebook. Just search NTA Abeokuta and be rest assured that you see this episode, the past episode, and the future episode. We still have with us Mr. David Johnson, and we are still talking on youth empowerment. So, lastly, Mr. Johnson, what are your advice to youth on youth empowerment?
Mm, okay, I think that for my advice, I think that youth should be like curious about empowerment programs that are like in their states. So if you're living in Abeokuta, Lagos, wherever you're living, you should be curious enough to like research on what empowerment projects that the government has put in place, so you can take advantage of it. And secondly, I think that on the government side of things, I think that the government should also do like a good job. They're doing a good job. I think that they can just do like a better job, like to create more awareness for the projects that that they have for the youth to benefit the youth. Yeah.
There you go, guys. You've heard from Mr. David Johnson. But before we will let you go, we have some kind of redo for you.
Redo?
So yes, it's simple. So I want to ask you. I'll use an illustration for you to understand. We have two buildings. Two buildings are burning. You understand? Then the building A that's burnt to the, let's say, to the half level. Then the building B is still the fire is still up. I will call an ambulance to put out the fire. So which building do you think which building do you think is first? The fire
I don't
first?
know redos first of all. I don't know. Can you come again? Abeg?
Okay. We have two buildings. Two buildings are burning. Then we have building A, we have building B. So building A that's burnt to the half level, you understand? To
the
like
first floor?
No, let's say it's like a 5th floor.
Okay.
So it has burnt to like the 4th floor.
Fourth floor.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have building the same structure.
Same.
It's still on the 4th floor. Then we call an ambulance. Who do you think which building do you think the ambulance will first?
I don't know. I don't have fighting experience. I don't have firefighting experience. Maybe building A. I don't know. I think it's on. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I can't help you here. Probably like building A. Maybe because it's like on level 4. Yeah. But if you're going to like if you're going to attempt for building B now, it's on level 5. I guess level 5. So I don't know if you can reach level 5 from like ground level, except like proper firefighters. Like from.
So I don't understand. So the first thing is
Yeah.
when there's fire, do we call an ambulance?
Oh shoot!
We don't call an ambulance when there's fire.
Yeah.
So the thing is, that's the answer. We can't call an ambulance when
okay,
there's
okay.
fire. You
You
understand?
got me. Yeah, I understand.
Thank you so much, Mr. David, and I hope when
Thank
else
you
will
for having
call you, you will message, you will answer us.
Sure.
Yeah, there you go, guys. That concludes today's episode of Youth in Service. Please remember, COVID-19 is still real. Always mask up and say no to rape. Understand? Rape is not good. See you Same time on the same channel. Bye.